This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Probably the biggest and bad at night, first and second with no outs, and Godire swung on a first pitch fastball down and away and grounded as a double play. We got to have a better at bat there. That one really hurt. I think the game kind of changed after that. It didn't look good after that, and that was a little disappointing. Michael just chased. He just chased a bad pitch.
He has no chance!
I can't take this anymore.
Every game is big in my mind, regardless of when we play it. Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night. You know, every game is big, and, you know, especially where we're at right now. You know, from here on out, every game is a big game. So that's the way we approach it. You know, week in and week out is a big game.
We're happy for you.
The silence you hear is Lambeau Field.
You find this funny, Mr. Grove? You're smiling. Do you find this humorous? No, they're not. Do you find this humorous, Mr. Grove? You're laughing and smiling. I'm just wondering if you do. You didn't answer my question, Mr. Grove. Do you find this humorous?
No, I find it keeping a 4 years.
At least you're not smiling and laughing now. Oh, I guess you're back at it again now.
Is wearing women's underwear part of your channel?
Yeah, baby.
Mark, they can't pitch. They can't hit. What is with, I mean, come on.
The more things change.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north.
The more they stay the same.
This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Yes, and the drum begins at 5. Actually, 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4, 2, 1. Greetings, good afternoon, and ack, and dak, ack to you and yours. Cold, dead, rigor mortis laden, attached to a BCM 104 someday, some way. That's what will happen. I'm the common man, Dan Cole. I'm a radio dinosaur. He is Tenneby, back after a day off. Plenty to get to after a weekend of all sorts of sports activity, including the Minnesota Timberwolves are, it's wild and woolly. It's a fast-paced signing contracts at breakneck speeds with all sorts of players. That means some are staying and probably others are going to go. The Minnesota Twins now know what the best team in Major League Baseball looks like after an opening night victory in that 3-game set. They kind of got it handed to him. Scooby Scoble, he's pretty darn good. Common Man attended CHS Field to watch Royce Lewis in his rehab assignment. That was on Friday night. PGA Tour continues. Youngster, who we've talked about before, gets his first tour victory. And the fuse box, no longer the fuse box.
And we got breaking wild news coming up there.
And we've got breaking wild news. Yeah. Those and other topics coming your way. Where do we start? Not even sure. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel of topic.
Wheel of Topic!
Tennis, golf game.
Oh, what? You actually played?
Played Saturday.
Okay.
What did you shoot today?
78.
Ooh.
Where did we play?
Villagers Voyage Country Club.
Wow.
In Wisconsin.
So you were country clubbing it.
Well, it's a public course, I think.
Yeah, I know, but still, I just like saying you were country clubbing it.
Where'd you hit it on one?
Right up the gut.
Okay.
How far from the green were you?
I think I hit a pitching wedge from where I was.
Second shot?
Right on the green.
Right or left?
I was a little back right, about 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
Leg putt to tap in for par.
So you were on pace to shoot 72.
Yeah.
78's pretty good. You had an experience that's not unlike that of a Corn Ferry player. Somebody say PGA Tour. They don't shoot 78s on the tour.
No, they don't.
But Corn Ferry will. Well, you got out and played, so that's where you were. You were out on a little family vacay, it sounds like. Little getaway.
Went to a friend's cabin for the weekend,
friend's cabin for okay.
Like 3 families together with all the kids.
We are family. And so you got a chance to hit some knockdown, punch, cut, fades, draws.
Hadn't swung a golf club in a month.
Heard it's a long golf course, plays about 200. So it's a little shorter, but that's okay.
It's shorter course, and one of the buddies I was with wanted to play that tee. Yeah.
Okay, so
and I didn't care.
You play? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I've come to the conclusion that I have breaking news. Can you hit the breaking news sounder? I think I've come to the conclusion I might have to start mixing in some gold tees. I should maybe be playing senior tees. Even when I hit the ball really good, it just doesn't go anywhere anymore. I'm getting old. But, you got to play the tees that are right for you. I just get tired of having, driver hybrid, driver 6-iron, driver hybrid, driver 7-iron, driver hybrid. I can't hit the ball that far anymore. It's really not technique. It's just the inability to hit the ball the distances that I once did. But that is neither here nor there. Oh, more breaking news.
We really do have breaking Minnesota Wild news.
Okay.
The Wild have made a trade. They have acquired right wing Vladimir Tarasenko from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for future considerations.
Tarasenko has always been one of my favorite players. I recognize the name. I don't know why.
Well, he was a big time player.
He was, okay.
Yeah.
You say was.
He hasn't been that player. Tense. He's had a lot of injury stuff. I mean, technically he's only 33. I shouldn't say only. That's still old in hockey terms, but it's not like 38, 39. He's 33 years old, but it's been a while since we've seen prime Vladimir Tarasenko.
Okay.
And the fact that it's for future considerations, I'm guessing they're just taking the salary off of Detroit's book, so they just wanted it's a salary dump for Detroit. But
and now when you have to remind me because I'm not paying as close attention to I don't pay attention to anything at all. So do we have to take on his entire salary?
We are. Yes, I think I did see.
Do we not rework a deal instead, or we have to take whatever he makes?
Here's the Russo tweet. Tarasenko has 1 year left on his contract at $4.75 million. Minnesota Wild will take on full freight, leaves them with $12.95 million, and probably means they'll just be looking for a center tomorrow. Free agency starts tomorrow.
Very good. You like it? Dislike it? Don't know yet? Hard to say?
I mean, ultimately, doesn't appear you're giving up much for him.
Yeah.
It's just a 1 year contract, so it's not like you're committed to a bad contract over the next X amount of years. I guess if it might be relatively low risk, if he can somehow recapture the Tarasenko of old, it could turn out to be a brilliant move. But I'm not too confident that's going to happen.
Yeah. I do know one thing. Tarasenko, is it Tarasenko?
Tarasenko, yeah.
Tarasenko will not be skating at the Fuse Box. He'll be skating at Grand Casino Arena. But more on that later. I had some real, and Timmy, I passed it along to you. I had some really sad news.
Yes.
Over the weekend, I woke up to a text message from Meat Sauce that yesterday that said Monday Night Football guy, a.k.a. Eric Anderson, had passed away. Regular listeners of the Common Man program will recognize the name Monday Night Football Guy. He has been a part of the Common Man program for years and years and years and years, almost from the very beginning. He and that cast of characters from Steelers Guy to Hang Up and Listen Guy to Denver Guy to Hastings Guy to Bill Bates Guy to all these guys. I mean, there were literally hundreds of people who started listening to the Common Man program, kind of glommed on and became part of the Commonwealth. And Monday Night Football Guy was what a sweet kid. I call him kid. He was, I think, 52 or 53 years old. So he really wasn't a kid, but to me, he was. And, he was featured in Flop, Sweat, and Tears for years and years and years. Kennedy, you've seen him work at the Minnesota State Fair.
Yeah.
PJ Fleck, I Am Your Father, his signature piece where he'd put on the scuba gear, because he was actually a rescue diver, where if there would be, he would go to boat races, and if the boat flipped, he'd go out and he'd go rescue him. He had hundreds of friends. I was alerted to, like I said, from Meat Sauce, and he found out because it was like a Facebook post from Eric's mother, and she mentioned both Meat Sauce and I in that post, because we took him under our wing, and he worked with us for years and years and years. Larry Mondello guy knows him very well, and I was just stunned by it because he was very young.
Yeah.
And he, Steelers guy talked to his mom, and it natural causes, whatever that was. No one, I don't have any further information. Don't want to, guess. I'm assuming a heart attack or something, or a stroke. Who knows? But, so many memories of Monday Night Football Guy. There was a time where I did this bit where, when I would welcome members of the Commonwealth onto the air on the phone line, right? We actually created walk-up music before there was walk-up music. We would play, like for Monday Night Football Guy, if he was on hold and we were going to go to Monday Night Football Guy in line one, we would play the Monday Night Football theme. Dun, 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 dun. And every guy, not every listener, but if the caller had a moniker in which you could attach a piece of music, we would give them walk-up music. So I would, the last time I worked with Monday Night Football Guy was over at the Beer Stube in Oakdale, in which Beer Stube Guy, it was September 11th, 2023. It was the first Monday Night Football game of the year. It was when Rodgers blew out his Achilles playing for the Jets. And so Beer Stube Guy wanted to do, for a promotion, he had Monday Night Football Guy comedy for Monday Night Football, right, leading up to it. And it was a big crowd. It was a nice-sized crowd. It was sparsely attended, but I opened for Monday Night Football Guy, and I still have a picture of the sign that says in little tiny letters, Common Man, along with, and then Monday Night Football Game in big bold, Monday Night Football Guy in big bold letters. And I'm glad he was, because he deserved that, because he worked really hard at his craft. He was loved by many. My favorite bit was when we'd bring him on the radio, and then I would just not say anything to him, and he would just start going on and on and on. And I would go for like 10 minutes. He would pause and wait for me to respond, and we wouldn't say anything, and then he would just keep talking. And we will dearly miss Monday Night Football Guy Eric Anderson. May he rest in peace. We will pause and return. We call it Peek at the Purple. That's next, but right now, Tenneby's got a keyword.
The Fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword GRAND at KFAN.com now for a shot of winning. That keyword is GRAND. Enter it now at KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
We're receiving a number of text messages on the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line 64686 regarding the passing of Monday Night Football Guy. Someone said, "Do you always say MNF? That was the funniest joke you ever heard. You just don't know it." That was actually a Larry Mondello guy line. If you watch Monday Night Football guy perform, he tended to mumble a little bit. So you had to listen very carefully to his material. But so once Monday Night Football guy left the stage, Larry Mondello guy, the MC, would come back on, and Larry would say, Monday Night Football guy might have just told the best joke ever written. We just wouldn't know it. Brilliant line, brought the house down. I used to say about him, he was a rescue diver, and I say that takes a lot of courage, not nearly as much as it takes to get on stage with that material. So we have fun with him. We love poking fun at each other. He did have the menopause joke. Before we went to the bait shop to get minnows to go fishing, he goes, they're floating the other day. He goes, what's wrong? He goes, it's menopause. So yeah,
I always love that one.
He was very good, and we certainly will miss him. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends tend to be at Affordable Electric. Affordable Electric for all your electrical needs, family owned and operated. They will give you a complete old home inspection or business. Let you make sure that everything is on the up and up with your electrical system. Go to affordable-electric.com, affordable-electrical.com. And remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. I don't have any Vikings news today, unless you have any. But I do have some Aaron Rodgers stuff. And is it really, well, it has to do with Aaron Rodgers, but it's not a quote from Aaron Rodgers. It's actually Ben Roethlisberger. Did you see this one? Stories from CBS Sports. Jared Rubin writes football. Story starts out, football fans love almost nothing more than a good quarterback debate. Who's the best right now? Who's the best of all time? Who would you take, this guy or that guy? Ben Roethlisberger said, I would take Aaron Rodgers in his prime over Patrick Mahomes now. I think Aaron Rodgers in his prime was one of the top few to ever do it, and so is Patrick Mahomes at his prime. Pat Mahomes is just entering out of his prime, I think. So Big Ben, never at a loss for words, and he's always been fairly controversial, says he would rather have an Aaron Rodgers in his prime than a Pat Mahomes where he is now, I think is how he said it. I don't know.
Is Pat Mahomes past his prime?
I don't think he is.
Yeah, his numbers have gone down a tad, but I don't watch him going.
Well,
it's not like he's lost arm strength or he's not as mobile.
I don't think his numbers are down because he's not as good anymore. I think his defenses have adjusted to him and they're trying to take him out of the game. So if they start doing different things, you change up your game. I certainly would never call Mahomes a game manager, but if they're not giving you time to throw, if your offensive line isn't good, well, guess what you do? Well, then you throw shorter passes. So, I mean,
he's still getting them to the big game, basically.
Yeah, well, that's
almost every season.
And that's the other thing. I mean, no doubt, Rodgers. I mean, it's to me, it's my favorite way to evaluate a quarterback. Minute to go, blah blah blah. But also, you do have to look at. And again, it's also, it can be difficult to evaluate a quarterback because what does he have around him? Like, we talk about Matt Stafford all the time. He was stuck in Detroit for all. It's like being stuck inside a mobile with the Memphis Blues again. He was stuck with Detroit, still put up impressive numbers. As soon as he got away from Detroit and played for the Rams, he won a big game when he had players around him in a different system. And, Rodgers won one big game and he's never been back. And his performances in NFC championship games after that weren't real good. Mahomes has won how many big games? Is it 3? 2 or 3?
I think so,
4, whatever it is. He's been to, they win the division pretty near every year. They get to the AFC championship game pretty near every year. Super Bowl championships, I got to think he's got 3. So it is a team sport. So
2024, 2023, and 2020.
Yeah. So again, you can't use solely results of the team when judging a quarterback. But at the end of the day, do you get your team to the championship game and win it? And he's done it on 3 occasions, and different styles of quarter. And he's done it on 3 different occasions in one. Did they lose a big game too? They lost to Philadelphia last year, right?
Last year, I think they lost.
Is that
A couple of them. I think they lost to Tampa Bay and Brady.
So he's been there 5 times then, Mahomes. So he had 5 big games. And again, I know he has help, but it's hard to argue with, when you say...
Yeah, they lost to Tampa Bay in 2021 and lost to the Eagles last year.
So he's been to 5 times. That's a lot of big games. Now, again, the record's 3-2. And again, the record isn't all on him because you have offensive line, it's team sports. So, but I would be hard pressed to... Well,
he's 29 years old.
Yeah.
So the whole he's coming out of his prime. I'm not really. I think you nailed it. There's just the defenses have just gone all in on trying to stop him from beating him at the deep. So he's just had to adjust and play more efficient and throw short passes.
And his weapons certainly aren't like some other players have had, right? I mean, who does he have? He's Kelsey.
Well,
we know
his tight end's past his prime. Right. That's the guy who's past his prime is Kelsey.
Yeah. But you have Kelsey. He had Kelsey during his bet. When Kelsey was brilliant, those two were as
with
good.
Tyreek Hill. Yeah,
yeah, and exactly. And after now, I don't know. I can't name one wide receiver for Kansas City.
Their best wide receiver, even though he was out the good chunk of last year, will be Rashee Rice this year.
Yeah. So there you go. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, I highly encourage you to go to affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. They're shockingly affordable. With Rosen out this week, Tennessee did some booking of guests. I've decided I'm going to follow in the footsteps of all the other shows in the world. John Bone is talking baseball during the 2 o'clock hour. Lavelle Lee Neal was at tomorrow or Thursday.
He's tomorrow.
And then Wednesday.
Wednesday, we're still empty.
Okay. And then Thursday.
Michael Russo.
Talk some hockey.
There'll be plenty of wild stuff to talk about then.
When you're right, you're right. And I don't know if you've ever been wrong. Short break. Back with more after this here on The Fan.
Fourth this year with $100 to Fireworks Forever. Check out our contest page for your chance to win a $100 Fireworks Forever gift card to stock up for the 4th. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Let me ask you a question, Tennessee. What's the name of this little ditty? Does it have a name to it?
The name of this one? Deluxe Life.
Living the deluxe life. Deluxe. Living large, living off the land, living like a king. I don't have anything. I'll do this to my boys all the time. I'll say to them, I just came up with this new song, and either it will be a nonsensical one or else I'll start actually singing a real song. And that's when Deuce will roll his eyes, shrug his shoulders, and shake his head. It was baby brother Peter's birthday on Saturday. He became 20. We no longer have teenagers in the family. So it's like late in the afternoon and we're getting ready to go out to dinner. Taking baby brother Peter out to dinner, Potato, myself, and Deuce. And Deuce sees that on the kitchen table, I have a card. The gift really wasn't too hard to decipher. I just put a couple of bows on the top of a dozen golf balls, right? But Deuce saw the card. He comes over to me and he goes, hey, can I just open that up and put my name on it? I forgot to get him a card. That's what he wanted to do. And I go, no, you can't do that. Go make him one. So he actually made him a card, which was also a gift certificate to one day of, Deuce said, this, you can turn this in. For one day, I will not try to annoy you. For one day.
I always love that one.
Deuce likes to annoy people. I don't know where he gets it from. I don't understand. And so, it was baby brother Peter, so he turned 20. The card started out, thanks for locking me out of the house, because Deuce was still gone. He's got... So the door that leads to the garage from the mud room, as we like to call it, right? Deuce doesn't have a key for that, so baby brother Peter locked it. So then, this is like the first time it happened, Deuce says he drove back to where he was hanging out and was going to just sleep on the couch. I just happened to wake up in the middle of the night and say, I'm locked out. It was like an hour. It's an hour behind. So I call him. First I get up and I go, I wonder where he is. Is he out sleeping in his Jeep? But he went back to where he'd been, and I called him, and hello? I go, dude, all you had to do was call me. I didn't want to wake you up. Well, dude, if you're locked out of the house. So then he came back home. That's worthy of waking up. Yeah, that's worthy of waking up. It would have been no deal. So I feel like a heroic father, but not as heroic as this one. Did you see this story? A father jumped into the ocean to save his young daughter after she fell overboard from a Disney cruise line on its way back to South Florida, prompting a dramatic rescue at sea, according to passengers. Videos posted on social. Incident happened Sunday aboard the Disney Dream as it sailed between the Bahamas and Fort Lauderdale. The child went overboard during the final leg of the cruise. Her father immediately leapt in after her, just like you would do for
Roma.
For Roma. Passengers who spoke with CBS News Miami said he treaded water for more than 10 minutes. An emergency alert sounded through the ship as crew members launched a rescue boat and tossed life preservers into the water. A passenger, Laura Amador, says the ship was moving quickly, so quickly, it's crazy how quickly the people became tiny dots in the sea, and then you lost sight of them. The captain slowed the ship and turned it around, and then they deployed a tender ship with people on it to get them, and we saw them rescue the dad and the daughter. A TikTok video showed the father treading water with his daughter in his arms. He then handed her over to rescue crew from the cruise ship before getting into the boat as well. The person with that video said, yeah, I only saw one fall, but I didn't see the other person. I thought it was only one person. It was a grown-up. I think they were trying to take a picture on the railing they were trying to see. Passengers watching from the ship cheered when the rescue mission was completed. One of the passengers said, oh, I see him. Yeah, bless his heart. How did he survive that long? Oh, my gosh, that's a dad that needs to have a hero. He's a hero. He jumped in to save his child. If that would have been in my situation, I would have tapped Tenneby on the shoulder and said, could you dive in the water? Because I'm a really bad swimmer. I would not have been able to do what he does. Even if I had the instincts to jump in after my child, I'm a terrible swimmer. I can dog. I mean, dog paddle's my strength. If it was an Olympic sport, I could win gold. But I'm just kind of, I can do the regular. Is it just called a regular stroke? I don't know what the name of it is. It's not a backstroke. It's not a breaststroke. Front crawl, whatever it is. Not a dog paddle. But I can't do it for
the Olympics. They call it freestyle.
Yeah, well, freestyle. I can freestyle, but I can't do it for very long. And certainly not in the ocean, holding on to a child. Not a chance.
When you get to the child there, you're not swimming anymore.
Right.
You're waiting.
And I can't do that. There would be no way I mean, as much as I would try.
I could do it. Doing it with a child in your hands, I don't know how big the child was, but that would make that even way more challenging.
I couldn't last. I'd be done. So I'd be a goner. And it's I've been on one cruise, and I don't know, you've been on a cruise, right? Just recently.
Disney cruise.
Yeah, Disney cruise. And as I sat it was at night, full moon, cruise ships cruising along in the Gulf of Mexico, and I'm on you got a little patio. And it's kind of freaky when you're thinking to yourself, all that's separating me from dying in the Gulf of Mexico, falling 11 stories or whatever it is just this rail that, it's fine. It's sturdy. I'm not suggesting it's not, but you're looking at it and going, it just, I didn't even want to get near the edge. I know I'm not going to fall out, but I just think about, you're done. And I wonder, do you think people have, this is morbid, have committed suicide jumping off a cruise ship?
Oh, yeah. Sure, it's been frequent.
Because it would be easy to do, right? Climb over, jump overboard, and you're donezo within a few short minutes. Did
they say what time of the day it was?
No. Well, they could see. So I'm assuming it was I'm sure it was daylight.
Yeah, I would have to think, yeah. Because at night, it is... I mean, I think we all know how dark it is at night on the ocean, but until you're there, you can't see a thing.
No, you can't see it.
It's pitch black.
The ship has plexiglass safety barriers on its deck, so it's unclear how the child fell overboard. That would be, I was thinking the same thing. Unbelievable. So, I guess you would, do a hip, hip, hooray. Here's one that says another reason to never take a cruise. I liked it okay. I don't need to go on another one. It was, I'm glad I did it and experienced going on a cruise, but I would never, because after like a day, I'm like, okay, I can't play. I'm not interested in any more shuffleboard. You can only play shuffleboard so often. Food's okay. There's not, I mean, I think they had a comic every night. It's like, okay, I can see a comic in Minneapolis. I can see Meat Sauce, if you want to describe it as a comic. So I don't know. But there you go. We talked about it, Timothy. We teased it as one of our topics. The Wild Hockey Arena now has a new name. It's always been known as XL Energy Center. And of course, what we do here on the Grum is we've always tried to create a nickname. For instance, for Target Field, we called the goose that laid the golden egg because the pullouts couldn't be happier with it. We called Huntington Bank Stadium, formerly TCF Bank, we called that the Vault.
Yeah.
U.S. Bank Stadium, I think we called that. Did we call that the Vault as well, or the Vault 2? I don't remember what name we came up for that. But we always called the XL Energy Center, we called Target Center the Bullseye, and then we always called the XL Energy Center the Fuse Box. Yep. I don't know what we can do. The
Mariucci Arena we called the Mooch.
The Mooch, right.
Yeah.
I don't know what we can do for Grand Casino. Grand Casino, the casino, I guess, but it's already called Grand Casino. I've been trying to think of a nickname, and I can't really come up with one. You're not going to go the roulette. They don't have roulette there at Grand Casino. So we'll think about it. We'll figure out anything. I'm wondering, in the story that I read on CBS Sports or CBS News, there's no mention, unless you've heard of what the cost of the naming rights
I haven't seen that. I just seen that it was a 14-year agreement.
It's a 14-year deal. Some people said call it the slot machine. You could call it the slot.
There's a slot on the ice.
Yeah.
Taking shots from the slot.
Someone suggested that. But I don't know. We'll get.
Don't they have an area that's called the pit at a casino?
Yeah, they do. They do. That's exactly what it is. That's where that's where when you're at the blackjack tables, the pit is where the pit bosses
the
are.
Employees,
they call it the pit boss. Maybe we call it the pit. I like that. We'll call it the pit for now. I don't know. We must know some. I just can't recall what the naming rights fees have been over the years. I know they're always eventually announced, but I got to think the arenas in the larger cities cost more. You get more eyes on them. I don't know. I've always wondered how they must be valuable to Grand Casino Hinckley, because I gotta think it's got to be at least $1 million a year, wouldn't you think? Maybe more. I mean, several million a year. Now I know they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money up at the casinos. That's why casinos are in business. That's why Las Vegas exists. But I'm sure it's a fairly nice paycheck they're going to have to turn over to them every single year. I mean, we have studio naming rights. We call it our 651 Carpets Plus Studios. I'm not sure I'm not privy to that. We call it our Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. So we also sell naming rights, and I don't know what
So I'm reading in the Star Tribune right now.
Okay.
According to the Minnesota Star Tribune archives, the X's naming rights in 2000 were worth $3 million per year in cash and services. The They also say the going rate for NHL arena naming rights has multiplied since the X's opening. Computer maker Lenovo agreed to pay $60 million last year for a 10-year deal with the home of the Carolina Hurricanes and NC State men's basketball. Investment bank UBS reportedly signed a $350 million deal in 2020 for naming rights to the New York Islanders' new arena.
$350 million?
Don't know how many years that's over, but...
What company? Who? What?
UBS.
Okay.
Investment bank.
Yeah. This is a CBS Minnesota story. It says... Minnesota Sports and Entertainment, which operates the arena, and Grand Casino Mille Lacs and Grand Casino Hinckley, owned by the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, are entering a 14-year naming rights partnership. All exterior and interior signage will be replaced with the new Grand Casino Arena. Be ready for the regular season in October. Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe Chief Executive Virgil Wind. I've had the opportunity to meet Virgil before. I've worked closely with the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. I do ring announcing up in Hinckley. I've done some work for them to so what I'm looking for, to promote the renovation of their hotel lobby and the renovation of all of their rooms up there. He says entering the partnership is one of the bold steps the band is making to strengthen its economy as its casinos have seen a steady decline in visitation. He says this will put the Grand Casino brand in front of millions of Minnesotans and visitors every year at hockey games, concerts, and major events. Also puts our story, the story of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, on a statewide and national stage. Traditional advertising isn't enough anymore if we want Grand Casino and the band's economic future to thrive. We need visibility, brand recognition, and connection with a new audience. Wind added that no tribal government dollars were used for the partnership as it was funded using Grand Casino's existing marketing budget. So, yeah, good luck to the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. The naming rights thing, it's a big chunk of change, and hopefully it will it'll work well for them. A number of people are asking us, do we know about the Wild trade? Yes, we do. We're aware of it. We have commented on it. The Wild have. What's Tarasenko's first name?
Vladimir
Tarasenko.
He's Russian.
He's played for the Red Wings. That's where we got it for future considerations. It's a 1-year deal worth a little over $4 million. We pick up that's what he was going to make next year with Detroit.
It's like 4.7 or 4.75.
So we take on the contract. It's a 1-year deal. Tend to be
well, and what we should also mention, I think Michael Russo alluded to this on Twitter, that this trade for Tarasenko kind of now takes them out of the wings market, like going after a scoring winger. I think the name we had been hearing that the Wild might have interest in would be Brock Besser. Maybe they got wind that Besser wasn't going to come here, or that they weren't going to be able to pay him, and so maybe this is the backup plan B of, well, let's get Tarasenko. So it sounds like free agency starts tomorrow, that they'll just be looking for a center. That they'll be out of the market for scoring wingers.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to expect. I tend to be, I'm not as paying as close attention to the National Hockey League as I once did. So you could throw out, other than the biggest names in the league, you could throw out names to me, and I would have no idea, how good the player is, what he's got left, what he doesn't, would be a fit with the Wild. So for me, I know I'd heard the Tarasenko name, and as you say, he was a star for a long time.
He was a big-time player for a long time. He was a Wild killer.
Yeah.
He played for the Blues for the longest time. He was scoring 35, 40 goals every year.
Right. And now he seems
he had some injury stuff that happened, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, where he barely played in 2 seasons. And has never really recovered since then to be the old Vladimir Tarasenko.
Do we read anything into that he's Russian, and so is your favorite player, Kirill?
Kaprizov.
And that maybe, hey, these guys would, they have something in common. They're from the same country. And will they be on the same line together? Would your guess be at this time, or is that way too early to tell?
At some point, I'm sure they'll play with each other.
Okay.
But, Kaprizov is BFFs with Matt Zuccarello. He played a lot with Matt Boldy last year. So, guessing Tarasenko would be third in line in terms of a wing that would play opposite Kaprizov. But He should be on your second line or at least in your middle six. But no, I don't think he would be your primary guy. But in hockey, you change lines so often. You go in a 3-day slump, all of a sudden you're mixing things up, trying to get the best combos.
Explain this to me. When we've been waiting to finally get out from under the onerous, if that's the right word. Can you look up the word onerous?
Onerous?
Yeah, ONEROUS, onerous. When we've been waiting to get out from under the onerous contracts to Parisian Suitor. Did you find it?
Onerous.
Oh, it's onerous.
Onerous.
I thought it was. I will honor you, Tennessee. Onerous. I thought it was onerous. Onerous.
Burdensome, oppressive, or troublesome, causing hardship.
That would be the contracts of Parisian Suitor. That would describe it, right?
Yeah.
The onerous contracts of Parisian Suitor were out from under them. I thought we were going to, when we had that money, and I guess it's not. I guess it's not as much as I thought it was going to be, and I thought with that money was going to be like. You remember when PA and Dubé would do for free agency? It's the most wonderful time of the year. And they would rip open presents, and they were the biggest names of the biggest names. I thought that's what we were going to be getting at. Not that we were going to get Connor McDavid is overrated. But players of that ilk, and it sounds like Tarasenko at one time was of that ilk, but now he may be past his prime. Is this the best we're going to get? As you just said, we might now have only enough money to get a center.
Yeah. That's what they'll be targeting.
Right.
But a lot of those guys are off the market now. A lot of them aren't even getting to free agent. Bennett re-signed with Florida. Tavares is going back to Toronto.
So we're really not going to be any better than we were the last year, the year before, the year before, the year before.
Once again, we'll go into the season saying, well, let's see if our young guys can emerge.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And we still have the Rossi thing hanging over us he hasn't been traded yet. At this point, I don't think he will be.
How about this? This is more important than the Wild, the nickname for the Grand Casino Arena. How about, in blackjack, they call the deck of cards the shoe. It's a really big shoe.
Brilliant.
I think the shoe is the front runner right now because that's what they call it, the shoe. You're not a blackjack guy, are you?
I'll play blackjack.
Yeah, I like playing blackjack. I know the odds are, that they're well, like I think most of the games, the odds are in favor of the casino, and that's okay. I like sitting there and doing the old, where instead of saying hit me, you just kind of flick with your fingers like that. I like playing the game. It's fun.
I'm not a slot guy.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Well, for me, slots are just to kill time before the concert starts. We finish dinner and we're going to go to the concert. I don't have a lot of time. I got 20 minutes, and so I'll throw it. I'll throw it because you can win at those. I've won. I think I told this tale. There was the Seven Clans Casino up in Thief River Falls, about 40-minute drive from my dad's place. My late father, my late stepmother, and we would something to do. I'd go there. I'd spend a week there every summer. So one day we'd go to the casino. Wouldn't spend a lot of time there. But I plunked down $20 on the slot machines, double diamond machine. I won the jackpot. It was $650. It was the greatest thing ever. I'm just like, this is sweet. Of course, it doesn't happen like that every day, but nonetheless, we enjoyed ourselves back in the days. I miss my dad, my stepmom dearly. We'll take a break. We'll come back. 10 to be top of the hour break. After it, we've got 5-3-4, right?
Looks like the Wolves are going to run it back.